Welcome back, Chiefs fans. It's Locked On Chiefs, part of the Locked On Network, and we are ready for week 1. This is going to be your game preview that we're going to do every week, all season long, all 17 games. I have to remember that point. We're going to get to all what you need to know as you look at matchups, as you look at what are the 4 things that they have to get done, as well as what is the news running up to this particular game. We're going to have a good time. Glad you guys are here. Welcome to Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Well, it's finally here. It's been, 1,700 days since the last football game was played.
The one that matters, you mean? And it's a Red Friday, so there's that as well.
Yeah. Welcome to Red Friday, obviously. Home studio is not working today, so I colored this one red. I hope that it works, and I hope that you guys are having a good time on Red Friday, getting ready for your game. Lot to cover here. We're going to go through matchups. We're going to go through the 4 keys to a win, the 4 downs that we see it as, and then we'll give you a prediction. But before we get to that, we got to talk about what's going on with this roster. Obviously, no Willie Gay, out on IR, and so that means that the Chiefs are looking at, I think, a combination of Ben Niemann and Nick Bolton to play this game. Had some positive things to say about Nick Bolton's mental processing and his preparation for this particular game. How do you like those two, and who do you think gets the majority of the snaps?
Oh, I would imagine the majority of the snaps are going to go to Ben Niemann, but I would prefer to see Bolton play. I do think that is going to be valuable time for him, and I think that if he showed he is ready in training camp, because I don't think that Willie Gay did that last year, and I think that's kind of why he didn't play much, then he ought to have a chance to play. I think he's a much better option.
Yeah. I think that's going to be probably a platoon thing is my guess. I think they're both going to play in this game, to tell you the truth. Do they get out there and get a drive or two for Ben Niemann, knowing that he's been on the field before? It's shouldn't be as many jitters or that kind of thing, and then platoon him in. That's kind of my feeling, but it also depends, I think, on how the game flow is going to go and how they're doing as a unit on the defensive side of the ball, and that's going to have a lot of impact, rather, from Tyrann Mathieu and his presence or absence. And as of today, as we record this late on Thursday, Tyrann Mathieu is not practicing, and we do not know his availability, if it's probable or unlikely for this particular game against the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, it's starting to sound like it could be probably not. I guess I don't want to jump to conclusions, but they were thinking they'd get him back Wednesday. It is now Thursday evening. Still hasn't passed the test. Sounds like he's feeling fine from what we've heard. The key, though, is they have to activate him by 4 o'clock on Saturday.
That's going to be the key because, if anyone's going to miss practice, Tyrann's probably your best candidate in terms of not needing the physical reps. He's been there in the meeting rooms for the install. They understand the game plan. It is just about being there. And clearly what Spags is referencing in a plan A and a plan B is with or without Tyrann, because it changes what you're able to do. If he's not on the field, I think that they have to make something more like a wholesale substitution to play someone else in that role. In my opinion, I wouldn't like to see them piece it together necessarily. How do you feel that they will combat it if he is unable to play?
I think they're going to have to make a substitution. I just don't know that they're going to be able to do it effectively. Juan Thornhill is going to have to come in and play more, but the question is he going to be able to take over enough of the role to be effective in that, or are you going to have to use multiple players to take over what Tyrann does?
Yeah, honestly, I think you put Juan out high where I expected him to be anyway, and I'd bring Rashawn Fenton in to play that robber role and let him do some of the things that Tyrann does between the too high and the in the box status that you have to give Dan Sorensen.
Yeah, and to be fair, to be clear on it, it does sound like Tyrann Mathieu is participating during Zoom, via Zoom, so there's that.
Yeah. That leadership goes a long way and helps everybody get where they're supposed to be. It's just about making those adjustments via sight on the field. That's going to be what it comes down to.
Yeah, and obviously his inability to be there on the sideline and make adjustments during the game and make adjustments for players lining up and all of that is going to be something that the team is sorely going to miss if he's not able to play on Sunday.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be a bat phone somewhere, a red phone on the sideline straight to Tyrann's house, but it's going to be what it is. And I think as we go through, we'll definitely give you an update. It might be just kind of a quick one, as this is generally our preview show for the week. If we hear something or when we hear something, we'll give you a little bit of reaction probably over the weekend, let you know what's going on. We have to give you some information about something else as well.
Yeah, and our friends over at Built Bar are sponsoring today's show, and they want us to talk about all their specific bars. And Ryan doesn't have his props because he's not at home. There are 9 delicious flavors. If you have not tried them, you really need to. They are absolutely fantastic: coconut, cherry barcia, raspberry, mint brownie, double chocolate, salted caramel, strawberry, orange, cookies and cream, and German chocolate. My favorite out of that is probably going to be the mint brownie, although the salted caramel is very good as well. If you haven't tried all the flavors, you can get a mixed box where you get 2 of each of the 9 flavors. Not only are Built Bar flavors the best tasting, but they're healthy too. Check out the macros: 17 to 80 grams of protein, calories ranging from 130 to 180 calories, only 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Go to built.com and use promo code LOCKED15. You'll get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Football season is back. Let's make the most of it with a better way to create your custom pool. RunYourPool.com, the premier sports pool hosting service. Run Your Pool makes it ridiculously easy to run a football pool with friends, family, or office mates. They offer dozens of formats, including Survivor, Pick'em, Squares, Margin, Confidence Pools, 33, and more. Run Your Pool hosts formats for NFL and college football with 1-week games, full season playoffs, or the Super Bowl. Unlike other fantasy sports platforms, Run Your Pool has options and settings to make it your own. You can even brand your pool for your local business, bar, or restaurant. Reconnect with friends and join nearly 2 million football fans to make every game action-packed this season. Check them out today and get $10 off at runyourpool.com/lockedon, or use our promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. Anywhere, everywhere in the world, Run Your Pool helps friends and colleagues compete. The NFL starts September 9th. Today, there's a game. Actually, yesterday there was a game. Start today at runyourpool.com/lockedon and have your pool up and running in minutes. Runyourpool.com/lockedon.
Lot in there. Running a pool on this particular game is going to be tough. And so we're going to start here by looking at matchups. And there are a number of problems on both sides of the ball, to tell you the truth. But obviously, they're complicated by what we talked about in the first segment with the lack of Tyrann Mathieu, and if that is the way that it comes down. There's also a significant injury to Willie Gay Jr. Blythe is a backup, so I wouldn't count that as one. But when you look at this game, X's, O's, guy versus guy, who's the matchup that stands out to you the most?
Honestly, right now for me, the matchup that's going to, I think, dictate how this game ends up is probably going to be Nick Chubb versus the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line. And I know that a lot of people will call that weak, but to me, it's, can you stop the run? Because if you can stop the run, you can slow the Cleveland Browns down. If you can't stop the run, then you're going to have trouble on defense, and it's going to have to be a shootout.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a tough one. I'm a big Nick Chubb fan. That makes this week difficult for me every year. But the talent, and particularly the interior 3 that he gets to run behind, I think are the problem. Now, the Chiefs have Jarran Reed to combat that. I think that is a significant signing, probably the most significant signing during the offseason. And I'm very interested to see just how he holds up there. And when we know what Derek Nottie can do against the run too. But I think it's about a limitation for Nick Chubb in the running game rather than a stopping. I don't think you're going to stop them. Is 100 yards the marker to where that hurts the defense enough that it's effective? I'm not so sure about that. I think that they can survive a 100-yard day from Nick Chubb and still be fine. I'm concerned with the opposite.
They won't be able to survive a 100-yard game when it comes to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. If they both go off for 100 yards, that's a problem.
Yeah. If those two are your 200-yard gainers, though, I think you're probably doing all right.
Depends on how the game goes.
Yeah.
If they're chewing up the clock and you don't get many possessions, that's a problem.
True. I think Patrick's going to be pretty much on, though, and I feel like they're going to be able to score quickly when needed. So I would still count that as probably an advantage for them. What I won't count as the advantage is right now it looks like 3 rookies are going to start. In particular, Jadeveon Clowney's listed as their right end, their left end, and I think you're going to see Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney both on the right-hand side of the offense, going in between, around, about, stunning cross, everything that they can come up with to attack Lucas Niang, and then Trey Smith as well, because they got to work together at times. And I think that's probably the matchup that I'm most concerned about, derailing or slowing what the Chiefs are trying to do. There's some ways that you can combat that, but that's honestly the thing that I'm going to look for from the first drive going.
Yeah, and I can't say I blame you. I mean, looking at that matchup, that is going to be definitely something on paper that is going to probably favor Cleveland, at least from what we know so far. You have proven commodities going against rookies. This is going to be their first real NFL action. So we'll see how that ends up. I'm really curious to see those matchups as well. I think you start looking at the other things that can really make this game difficult for Kansas City, and it gets into how do their corners play?
Mm-hmm.
How do they match up against the Browns receivers? I'm not really worried about Odell Beckham like I would have been maybe 3 years ago. Um, Jarvis Landry is a good wide receiver, but is he good enough to really burn you all day, every day? No, I think he's good enough to burn you, a couple times a game. So that's going to be a concern. But you have all this youth at that corner position. So to me, that's going to be a key also in this matchup. Can you stop the pass when you have to stop the pass? Are you able to get them off the field in a 3rd and 6 or a 3rd and 8? Because that's when they're going to have to pass the ball. Are you going to be able to play that sticky type of defense and do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? And the opposite is true as well. In the secondary over in Cleveland, you have some youth too. This is not the same group that you saw there. Safeties have, I think, improved with John Johnson's acquisition there. They got Grant Delpit back. He should play in this game, as we are aware of right now. The interesting thing to me is you have Denzel Ward, who's been hurt, and you have the rookie in Greg Newsome, who I was pretty high on in the draft cycle. But I don't know that either of them is really ready to stand up and compete against Tyreek Hill. I think as much as I want to see them use the quick game and get the ball out of Patrick's hands and not put him at risk, at some point there's going to be a chance to throw it downfield and take a deep shot. I think it's going to be effective.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be fun to watch. My question, though, is when you start looking at different matchups, and this is just kind of a bonus one I want to throw out there, do they use a 4 tight end set? Are they going to dress all 4 tight ends? Are they going to go with the I believe it's called the T-Rex package. And what do they run out of that? Because I do think that gives them a unique advantage.
Yeah, I agree too. And I can only cross my fingers that they run that. the little T-Rex fullback in there.
They're not going to run with the fullback.
You never know. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I won't bet against it is a good way to put that. Now, if I was really thinking that way, I'd go over to betonline.ag, our friends there, that you can put all that action down across the gridiron for the first week and every week of the NFL season. They're always the best place for all of your action for pro and college, and you need to get over there and check them out with all the updated stats, props, contests, and this week, the biggest online $500,000 mega contest and the world's largest $200,000 NFL Survivor contest. They're both open now at betonline.ag. Head over there with your mobile or whatever you need to do it. Sign up and you'll get 100% bonus welcome. On top of that, it's really interesting, and we're past the point where you can make the bet on the opening day, but I think that was a really fun way to get into this particular one. It's the easiest and fastest way to lay your action on, and that's over at betonline.ag, our online sportsbook experts. They have everything that you need, and everything that you need in one place is really what DirecTV is trying to do as well. Does this sound familiar that you've lost in the couch, can't find one device to do one thing or another device to do the other? Maybe you lost all the remotes. Maybe you can't find your phone. Well, DirecTV wants to simplify your life and simplify your entertainment without the hassle. And one great way is to get all of your television together, and it's called DirecTV Stream. It all brings everything together. On-demand live TV puts it in one place for all your sports, movies, and shows in one single spot. This means that no more juggling remotes or searching them through the couch or whatever you happen to may have done, and no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter, get rid of the confusion, and get it all together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more about DirecTV.com. That's DirecTV.com for all the information. Compatible device is required, and content varies by package. By package is a variation that I'm looking for. Maybe it'll be that T-Rex thing. Maybe it'll be something a little bit stranger, but when we get down to 4 downs, these are 4 goals that they have to accomplish in order to win this game. And one of them, I think, is a package that's going to take advantage of what everyone seems to think is the darling in Cleveland, and that is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, a great athlete. Not quite as good as Willie Gay, but a linebacker that's up there in the stratosphere in terms of athleticism. And I hear a lot of Cleveland folks talking about him getting some one-on-ones with either Travis Kelce or one of the other tight ends. And I personally think that is a target A rookie against Travis Kelce is a no contest to me. I don't care how athletic you are. Every rookie DB or linebacker they put up against them for the last 4 years has been a victim. I'm looking for another one out of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic to watch because I've heard so many people talk about him that he is going to, and I don't want to say shut down Travis Kelce, but he's going to be able to cover him. He's going to be one of those guys that can actually do that. That is just not realistic in my opinion. So that's definitely something to watch for, how that shakes out. And I would not be shocked if Travis Kelce is close to at least 75 yards by the end of the first half, just because I think he's going to have a big game. He likes going up against his old hometown team. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to play into it. And then, one of the things I want to watch is how does Patrick start? He has had times where he has started and been really a little overzealous. If he starts quick in this game, that's a huge benefit for Kansas City. He is undefeated in the month of September and hasn't thrown any interceptions. I know people are saying quit saying that because it will jinx them, but it is a reality that he is fantastic starting off the season, but he sometimes starts games out a little quick, a little more amped up than you want to be. And I think that if he can get past that this year, he's going to even have a bigger season than he possibly could have.
Yeah, I can't argue with that in any way, shape, or form. And I hope that that's under control. Now, number 3, for me, it's got to be on the opposite side of the ball. And obviously, OBJ is somebody that you have to know where he's at, right? And same with Jarvis Landry. Those two guys from LSU, you got to pay attention to where they're at. I think the Chiefs DBs are going to be okay. They're going to lose some battles there. They're going to give up some big plays. I don't think it's going to be going away. The ones that make me nervous are probably the second-tier pass options out there in Peoples-Jones and Rashard Higgins, because I think they can both elevate over what is, outside of L'Jarius Sneed, kind of a shorter group of DBs that has to play the ball in the air and play the arms after the catch. That's a concern for me, and I'm going to throw out one bonus here as well. Pay attention. David Njoku hurt this team last time they played, and he's going to be out there as the backup tight end again. I wouldn't mind him in a Chiefs uniform in about 12 months from now, but keep an eye, because those 3 guys can catch in traffic and catch good passes against smaller defenders.
How many tight ends can this team have?
Right.
I can't imagine that they would go out and get Njoku, because I do think that they're going to be pretty happy with at least 3 of the tight ends on their roster going forward for the foreseeable future. But it'd be something to watch. You look at this game for me, and the defensive line for the Browns, I think, is also going to be a key. We already kind of talked about that up in matchups, but that's something I'm definitely going to watch. And I think the reason I want to say it specifically as not only a matchup, something to watch, but it's, just a 4 down. They have to be able to withhold. They have to be able to stand up and not let Patrick get hit more than 4 or 5 times. If they can do that, then they'll be in great shape. If Patrick is getting hit, 10 times or, God forbid, 15 times, which I just can't see happening, that's going to be a huge problem. And that is going to cause issues on Kansas City's offense for the rest of the season. So I think that the offensive line is going to play a big part in how this game is going to come out. And can they coalesce, and can they be and have that chemistry that they honestly haven't had the time to get yet? And that's going to be a big thing going up against a talented defensive line.
Yeah, that's definitely another one that I think could turn the tide of this game. Folks, we'd like to know what your 4 downs are. What do you have to see? Leave them in the comments below. And that brings us to crunch time. You want to go we haven't done this in so long. Flip a coin. Who's going first?
Well, I already gave mine on the crossover episode, so I'll let you go first.
Oh, okay. I see it as something that I hope that the remnants of the Super Bowl are still hanging on. Not to the point that it distracts anybody from preparation or executing what the plan is. But I do think that this team is carrying that loss pretty heavily. And yes, there's new blood. Obviously, the rookies on the offensive line. There's going to be youth in the secondary. Nick Bolton will play. There's plenty of that. But I think the whole roster is aimed towards making a statement that, hey, that team that got embarrassed in the Super Bowl is not who we are at this point. So I expect them to come out. I hope that the hammer stays down on Coach Reed's part. At the end of the day, I feel like, yes, they've got better athleticism in the Cleveland secondary. I'm not sure they play as a unit better. And quite frankly, I don't know that anything really combats the 2 stars of this roster in Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. So I see this offense moving, maybe with a slow start, maybe some of those jitters come in like you were talking about. But I see the Chiefs putting up 35 points. And I don't know that is something that they have to struggle with. The question becomes, does that run game hurt you? Can they control the passing game? Can they get to Baker Mayfield? I think that they do. I'm calling this 35-28 Kansas City.
Okay, so now you're killing me. It's like you listened to the crossover episode and took my exact score.
Oh, really?
No, I still think it's going to be close to 35-28. I do think that Kansas City is going to find a way to win this game. And the big question I'm going to have with it is which defense shows up for Kansas City, because I do think that they have an opportunity to be a better defense this year than they were last year. Mm-hmm. I just don't think that it's necessarily going to happen right away, because I think you're in a situation where you're going to be going up against a very good offense, or a team that has the pieces to be a very good offense at least. And I don't think you have one of your best linebackers in Willie Gay. And yes, I will say that right now. I do think he is one of their better linebackers. I guess I won't say best, but I would say he's probably right behind Hitch in my mind. Mm-hmm. And I think that he has the opportunity to overtake Hitch at some point this season if he is able to stay healthy and able to play, because I do think he has game-breaking speed and has the ability to do things that Hitch can't, which I think is really going to help his defense. And if you can be strong at that point, and if Frank Clark can be healthy, and that's a key, if he can be healthy, he can play in this game, and he can be healthy during the season and play, I think you have two defensive ends that can get after the quarterback. I think they can both stop the run, and you have Jarron Reed, who adds another dimension to this defensive line that you didn't have last year. I think the back end is still has a chance to be better than they were last year as well, because Juan Thornhill, I think, is going to be better and more equipped compared to last year. I think he'll be more like his rookie season, and so I do think that this defense can be a lot better than it was. I still think 35-28. If this was later in the season, I might say 35-24, 35-21. I don't know that I see this defense allowing much more than 20 points when you start getting into November and December.
Gotcha. Hey, one way or the other, we'd like to know your predictions. Leave them on the YouTube channel. In the comments, leave them in the iTunes reviews, everywhere that we are. If you're over and looking for the audio only, if you're having any trouble with Apple, I know there's been some hiccups again lately, check out Odyssey. That app, we're partnered with them. Check out Amazon. You can get us there. You can get us on Spotify, obviously. Pretty much all the platforms have Locked On Chiefs. And if you're here on YouTube, we appreciate you checking it out. If you would like and sub and maybe click that bell notification, that helps us as always. For those of you that are new to us or new to this YouTube channel or new to the show in general, we will have a show for you post-game. We generally sit down just as the game ends. We will record this and have it for you as soon as possible. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to go through the entire season. We're really looking forward to it. Chris, we finally made it.
Season is back. Kickoff is hours away. Cannot wait. And just to be clear, make sure you're paying attention. This game is at 3:25, not noon.
Right.
Which is weird for it being at Arrowhead.
But it is nearly a national game. There's a couple of pockets on the East Coast, but other than that, everyone will see this. So we hope you guys are ready. We're definitely ready. Enjoy your time out there, and we'll be back with you post-game. Thanks for listening to us today. We'll catch you next time.